We're live. Hello. Hi there. I'm Amanda Call, and this is a comic I'm working on. I am the first, chapter 2, page 3. We've been working on this for a few streams now. It's now all penciled. I was very close to it being completely penciled last time, so I went and I finished it. I need to scoot over. I'm not centered here. I went and finished it, the last little panel that wasn't quite there yet, after the stream ended last week. So now we can move on to starting to ink it. I'm going to be using my Hunt 107 Crowquill nib pen here and my nice custom wood holder, the Tachikawa one. It's not the standard little plastic holder that you normally get with these nib pens. This one's a lot nicer. And I'm going to be using with it, I like to use the Royal Talons India ink, which is surprisingly difficult to find for some reason. Also, I just felt my table try to move, so I'm going to tighten that up a little bit so that it doesn't escape while I'm in the middle of inking. All right, so I'm going to start with doing some of the technical stuff in the backgrounds. So we're going to need our right triangle. As I talked about last time, the cool thing about the drafting triangle is that it has this little beveled edge so that I can ink right along it, and the edge that I'm going to be touching with my pen and getting ink all over is not the edge that's actually touching the paper. So it's a lot less likely to pool around the edge and make a big mess. Not impossible, just less likely. Still have to watch out for it. All right. I will also note that I scanned the pencils and saved them, so if we have some kind of catastrophic inking issue, all is not lost. I can always print the page back off and try again. All right, let's go. We're going to cooperate. We're doing that thing where we just started and we're not cooperating. I think I have not very much ink left in that bottle. Come on. Oh yeah, that's great. There we go. So I'm going to do like a series of lines that are kind of parallel to each other so that I can get as many lines inked. Hey, Spud, thanks for joining me. As many lines inked in one pass with the tool as possible, because after I do a bunch of lines with the tool, I kind of need to wait a minute before I do some more so that the ones I just did can dry without me accidentally dragging my triangle through wet ink and making a big mess. And if you've watched me work on Age of Night pages, you'll probably note that one thing that is different about this process is that I have not done the lettering for this page, and that's because this comic page is getting ink. Oh, come on. Sorry, my pen is being uncooperative. Hey, Hungry. Thanks for joining me. This comic is getting colored digitally, and so I'm also doing the lettering digitally. So the lettering is actually like the very last thing that I do on the computer. Lining up with the edge of the paper here, which is parallel to the edge of my panel borders, which means that some of these lines you can see where I got a little wonky in the penciling and they're not very square or very plumb. I get a chance to kind of straighten them back out. Uh-oh, There's a big glob of something on my pen there. That doesn't look good. Let's clean that off. I don't know what I got on there. So it's a good idea to clean your pen after you load it up a few times, just so it doesn't get all gunky. Much better. I'll go ahead and do the book while we're here too, because that's roughly parallel to the series of lines I'm working on right now. And you can see how a little bit of ink is like beading on the edge of my triangle there. Dangerous. We're going to clean that up. Going to clean that off before that causes a disaster. So while the bevel on the edge of the triangle is going to protect me from a lot of those types of accidents, if I have a great big pool of ink gathering on there, then yeah, eventually it will overflow the edge and make a mess. And we do not want that. All right. And this door frame. So this is a phase of inking that takes quite a while for these pages, because everything is like, there's a lot of, hey Keith, thanks for joining me. Doing pretty good. Getting some comics work done this evening. Since everything is like, it's a lot of interiors, and there's a lot of technical stuff like door frames and window frames and cabinets and desks. And so this stage where you're doing all this, like, I'm doing all this very technical background and prop work, is one of the more time-consuming ones for this particular project. Ooh, switch plate there. I'm going to keep these line weights from getting too heavy, because I want this pushed back a little bit. We'll try to keep it nice and light. So the thinner line weights will push themselves back and not seem as far forward as the characters. It's very easy to forget that that's what you're supposed to be doing and accidentally get really heavy-handed. And then be like, oops, that looks like it's competing to be in the front, which is not what you want. Thanks. That was what I was going for, is I wanted it to look, very real and very, like, lived in. With junk on the counters and on the table and stuff not exactly being perfectly neat and square and clean. this line can be a little bit bolder because this is in the very front. This is the table that Alec is sitting at. So this line can be a fair bit bolder. Whoops. Gotta hold my tool still. Hey, Barney, thanks for joining me. I just saw that you're here. Some kind of little bits of I'm not sure what on my page. Eraser crumbs, pencil shavings, something or other. All right. Door frame. Well, part of a door frame. Do some more lines over here. The edge of the table. Come on. You know you want to cooperate, pen. There we go. Pen's giving me grief tonight. I think there's just not enough ink left in the bottle. What is that? Some glob. I have a glob going on. So how's everyone doing this evening? As I clean my pen. There's some stuff on here. Right, we're gonna do this series of parallel lines. Oh, my glob. Yes. Oh, my crusty ink glob. Okay, don't be like that. Come on. Pen. There we go. Why are we being so cantankerous this evening? I don't understand. Relaxing sounds nice. I'm struggling to get my pen to cooperate. My nib is getting a little crusty, so we might just be getting to the end of this one's life. Might just be getting close to the point where this one needs to be replaced. All right, this isn't supposed to be a struggle. Ink is just supposed to come out. There we go. Get this picture frame back in there. I should have gotten the vertical lines on that one earlier, but I didn't. I missed them. That's okay. We'll get them later. So arm of this chair. Cantankerous sounds like a made-up main word. It's not. It's a real word. It's a real word. I'm not the only person who uses it. Can't say as it's like a common word anymore, but it's a real word. Whoops, overshot that one a little bit. Gonna have to clean that up later. Hey, Liam, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm getting there. Getting there. All right, it looks like this panel, I don't need any other. It still sounds like a maid. Okay, yes. I will grant you that it does sound like it's probably not a real word, but it is. All right. I don't need my tools for this one. I'm just gonna freehand it, but I do still like to do stuff like this in the pen instead of brush. Basically anything like rigid or inorganic. I should say rigid and or inorganic. So like the beer bottle, for whatever reason, I feel like needs to be done in nib. Even though I could probably do it in brush, but I prefer to do it in nib. So there's that. Yeah. Yeah, I will do nib pens on pretty much all of the background, and then I do brush for the figures. So right now I'm working on my backgrounds. Doing a lot of the fussy technical stuff right now of architectural elements. Using my drafting tools to try to get nice, clean, straight lines. Trying to get my nib pen that I think is possibly past its prime to work for me. I think I might need to replace this nib. Yeah, they can be pretty messy. They can make quite the mess if you're not careful, and even sometimes when you are careful. But I do have a lot of practice, and like I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, I scan my pencils ahead of time. So if I do have like a catastrophic accident, I can always just print my pencils back off. All will not be completely lost. Maybe very frustrating, but it's not, not the end of the world. Fridge can get a little heavier line weight than the cabinets because it is further forward, but not quite as heavy as the table is the idea. It's like back here, the stove and the cabinets are going to get a very light line weight because they're further back. Hey, awesome. Thanks, Liam. Hopefully we'll see you around on another stream sometime. I appreciate it. Always happy to get more people to come and hang out. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, Liam. Enjoy your evening. I appreciate it. All right. I think my nib heard me talking about possibly replacing it, and it's behaving a lot better now. So that's good. Just have to threaten my tools slightly to get them to work. All these little bits and bobs on the window. Different layers of window bits and bobs, which we talked about last time when I drew it. There are so many little pieces of windows. There we go. It's starting to look like a kitchen. Oh, so I'm curious if anyone can see the consistency error that I made and fixed since last time. The difference between the pencils on the page this time versus last week that I just fixed because I was looking at previous pages and notes and stuff and realized that I had made a terrible mistake in consistency-wise. And I was like, oh no, that's not how that's supposed to look. It's a character detail. That's your hint. Let me know if you spot it. All right, look. Now my pen's acting up again. Come on, there we go. Just a light little line. Okay. Oh my gosh, I didn't do the bottom part at all. What was it, Barney? You saw it. What is it? What is it? You can bring it up. I'm asking if you saw it. Or are you referring to the inking mistake I almost just made? I am now correcting. There we go. There's the rest of the door frame. I'm too shy to say, okay. Okay, sure. Door in the background here. Chair. And we'll get some of the lines on this book. There we go. Actually, I did add that since last time, because that was so. And there had just been like a circle placeholder for that patch, and I hadn't decided on a design yet because I needed to talk to Jeremy, the writer, about what should be on that patch, because it wasn't specified in the script. It was just like there should be something on the jacket that makes it like instantly recognizable, patch or an emblem or something. And I was like, okay, well, we can do this circle patch on the shoulder, but what should be like the actual like symbol on it? And we figured that out actually just very recently. So that I did add, but that wasn't the thing that was the mistake. That just hadn't been pinned down yet. There was an actual mistake that I have since fixed. That was a really good observation, though, that had changed. All right, now we're gonna do this set of parallel lines, the ones that are going to this vanishing point over here on this one. And that'll get us through most of these. There'll be a few odds and ends, but we'll be able to start moving on from using the straight edge, doing a little bit more freehand stuff. One nice thing about these pages versus doing like Age of Night pages, my normal webcomic pages, is that these do not have the heavy background rendering. Since everything's going to be colored, it stays pretty, the background stay pretty like light and open and clear line style, which is makes them go a lot faster. It's a nice break. I really love doing the ink rendered backgrounds, but if I was trying to do 2 comics that with that level of intensity, I don't that wouldn't work. Would not be able to sustain that type of effort. We're going to use the French curve on those. So we're going to go ahead over here. Oh, come on. Okay, you're making me angry. Pen. There we go. All right, what do we still need to do on this one for straight lines? What I'm going to do is book and the slats on the back of the chair. Book, chair. Let's see. None here, none here. Got a few left to do there. We're going to turn this way because it makes it a little easier for me to manage. Line up my right triangle with this panel border, so this is nice and straight up and down. There we go. Pen, why? Come on, you're like almost working. There we go. Okay, that got all wonky because I was not focusing on keeping my edge lined up. There we go. No, that wasn't it either. I will let people know if they give up what it was. It's fairly subtle. It was just something that would have been very silly if I had gotten it all the way to the inking stage and was still wrong. All right, now I've got my French curve. I'll talk a little bit about the French curve and how that works. So the way you use a French curve, basically, is that you line up on the curve, whatever the curve is that you're trying to draw. And you may have to, because none of these curves anywhere on here are going to be exactly the whole curve that you drew most of the time. So sometimes you have to do them in little pieces. And there's a couple different types of French curves with different angles of curve to them. So I'm going to do, for example, part of the fridge handle back here. Get that to line up. I think I can line up. This right here seems to match pretty well. So we're going to do that. Trying to block it with my head. Sorry. All right. Same curve for the inside. And then I'll just freehand finish that off. So that gives you a nice even curve that you can follow for all sorts of different types of curves. Sharp and gentle and asymmetrical and everything else. I don't know if I can get, this one is probably not going to fit. No. I have another one of these. We'll see if it fits this one anywhere a little better without having to break it up. Not quite. All right, so I'm going to have to do this in a couple pieces. All right, so you'll follow the curve as far as it matches and then just kind of stop from where it starts to drift out. And then we're going to match up the rest of it. Try to do it without dragging your curve through the ink, but then you match it up with what's left on the curve and make sure that you overlap so that you don't have a weird like jag where the two lines meet. There you go. It does take some practice getting your curves to match, and especially when you have to do the composite ones like that, but the French curve really helps once you figure out how to use it. Which every time I use one on the stream, I will explain how to use it, because if you've been here for my French curve rant, if you've been here for my rant before about the French curve, you know why. You know why I'm adamant about that. Let me try the other one. You also start to get like familiar with the French curves at your disposal, and have kind of an intuitive sense of like, I think I have one that'll match on the other French curve that I own. Oh, don't scoot. It helps if you hold your tool still. There we go. So I guess while I'm doing more of these little odds and ends and trying to chase around whatever's not done in the background at this point, I can talk a little bit about this project. So this is the page I'm working on, that I've been working on for a couple of weeks now, is from I Am the First. It's a superhero origin story that's being written by my friend Jeremy Flagg, drawn by me. We have it on Kickstarter right now. We have just a week left in our funding campaign. By this time next week, we'll be done. We have funded, so we're now doing stretch goals. And, the fact that we funded is why I'm like, maybe I should work on some more of those pages. Now that it is actually happening, should maybe make sure I actually get it done. Might be good. So we just hit one of our stretch goals yesterday, where it was we're going to have variant covers drawn by Jesse Lundberg. And now we're aiming for what will probably be our last stretch goal, is to have variant covers done by another artist whose name is escaping me. He's really awesome, though. Hold on. We just posted about it. Where is it? Charles Ava Simpson. That's who it is. That's his name. I was like, it's something Simpson. I know his last name is Simpson. I can't remember the rest of his name. His artwork is freaking amazing. So if we get him to do variant covers, that would be awesome. But we'll see if we get there. Either way, the book is happening, so you should check it out on Kickstarter if you have not already. I'm excited and slightly terrified. And just attempting to keep trucking along, make sure I can get this book done for the time that we promised we would get it done for. Which realistically should not be a problem. I'm just, it's just a lot of pressure. but I can finish up all the little background elements in this panel down here. Let's go for it. Let's get this, all of the little nib pen elements, with the exception of one, done in this panel. Let's do that. Oh, I just bonked the camera with my head. Sorry about that. Yeah, my pen's just not acting quite right. I think I'm going to have to dig out a replacement nib because this is not cooperating at this point. All right, so there's the book. So the one element that I'm not going to do right now is the plaid on his shirt. I do make the little plaid lines with the nib pen, but I do that after all the figures are inked, so that'll wait for now. Zipper teeth. We've got I'll go up here to connect the corner of the cabinet. Doorknob. To the back door. Little bevel in the door there. And corner of the chair. All right, now let's get that fork. See, it has the little like collar stripe detail to it. Little scraps of breakfast left on his plate. Now the plate, that I did with an ellipse tool. So an ellipse template. So I think I'm going to try to still ink it with an ellipse template, but that I can't do with the nib pen because the ellipse template does not have that bevel. So if I try to use it, it sits flat on the paper. So if I try to use the nib pen with that template, I'm going to end up with a terrible inky mess. So let's get that out. I think this is the one I used. So it's got several different types of ellipses in different degrees. I'm pretty sure I used a 50-degree ellipse. One of the ones in this line right here. I want to say that's what it was. Yeah, that sure looks like it. Was it 50 or was it 40? No, it was 50. Okay. And I've got my tech pen. And we're going to get that lined up with the ellipse I had it on. Get that ellipse. Get that edge there. A little bit of an error there. And then gotta find which one I did for the middle. Looks like that one right there. Here we go. That's how you do that. Made a little bit of a smudge there where I missed the line. I'll have to clean that up later. So now all of the nib inking in that panel is done. I'm going to come back up here real quick. Do a couple more little things with the tools. Got these spokes on the back of the chair that need to be fixed. We've got, what, a little more than 10 minutes left? Around 12, 13 minutes left. So I will let you know that the mistake that I made drawing last time that I fixed before I started inking this time, because I realized my mistake was that this character, I drew him with an entire goatee, and he's only supposed to have a mustache, which would have looked really funny if the day before he had only had a mustache, or he had only had a mustache, and then the following day, when this chapter takes place, he suddenly had a full goatee. Would have been like, wait a second, where did that beard come from? Glad that I caught that before I inked it. That would not have been good. Barney says that this is my favorite Tuesday night main-based comic book drawing live stream. I appreciate it. Thanks. I try to be the best main-based Tuesday night live comic book drawing stream. I hope I live up to that. Yeah, that would have been bad if I hadn't caught it. Would have been like, wait a second. Always clean your tool off. Don't make a mess. Gonna ink some of this fun stuff up on top of the fridge. And it's 8:50, so we're approaching the end of the hour. Come on, pen. So I'm gonna do the end of the hour stuff, which is to remind you that I'm Amanda Call. This is a comic page of my own creation. This is from I Am the First. I Am the First is written by Jeremy Flagg and drawn by me. We're currently funding on Kickstarter, so you should go check it out. It's already gonna happen. We've funded, so now we're just trying to make it more awesomer with stretch goals. Definitely go check that out before it ends, which is in 1 week. You will also often find me on here working on Age of Night pages. Age of Night is my webcomic, which you can read at ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. You can read the whole thing online for free, but you can also help to support me making comics by following me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/ageofnight, spelled just like the comic. if you like watching me work on comics on the art stream, then you should definitely subscribe to the channel. I can speak, I swear. Subscribe to the channel, do the notification thingy and link the video, and then maybe YouTube will actually tell you when I go live, which is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But, in case I have a different time that I need to go live, or for when I upload pre-recorded and edited videos, it should tell you about that too. And I appreciate it. I appreciate having people follow me. It's pretty cool. You can also find me on Twitter at Age of Night and Instagram at Amanda Call Art. Age of Night also has a Facebook page if you like doing Facebook. You have options. I do not have a TikTok. I'm telling you, Barney, as soon as Story Comic has a TikTok, then it'll be on. Then I'll get a TikTok. You first. Some more of these little fridge details in here. Got pictures. There we go. I think that was all the things. But you can't just like open an account. You have to actually post something on it. You have to actually make a TikTok. I bet your like daily dad jokes would go over great on TikTok, assuming that's not where you're already getting them from. Finding more things to ink with my French curve, like this fridge handle right here from Main Base to Live Art Streams. Oh, well, I don't know where you're getting it from then. I don't have dad jokes. I am not a pun master. I can pun accidentally, but I never seem to be able to do it if I'm meaning to. That little line should not be there. So that will have to get fixed later. Got a few little bits that are going to have to get cleaned up with whiteout later. A few little places where things did not quite do what they were supposed to do. That's okay. Well, that is what whiteout is for. Got caught. Alright, let's see if we can get just a little bit more. We'll do some of the background remaining nib stuff in this one, and then that'll probably be it for this evening. I'm gonna get, oh my gosh, if my pen will freaking work. Gotta find that new nib. This is infuriating. Beer bottle. And fork. I'll probably do those eggs and brush. I don't know. It just seems like something that deserves a brush treatment. Thing of eggs. All right, so that's the nib work for that panel. Again, other than the flannel that I'll have to do later. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with me this evening. I started with this page fully penciled, and now we've got most of the Fedly technical backgrounding done. I'll probably finish that up between now and next week when we do the next stream so that we can just do the brush inking, and this page will then be done. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me. I will see you next time. Bye.